Thanks for joining me for Quick Business Tips. I'm Jennifer Swineford with Limitless Impact Agency. I'm going to ask you a question. If Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn just got shut off tomorrow morning, would you still have a business? And I don't mean, would you have a logo, a website, an LLC? I mean, would you have a way to talk to customers, generate new leads, and make sales that same afternoon? Or would you simply turn off the lights and go back to bed? If the answer makes your stomach a little queasy, trust me, you are not alone, but you're in a very dangerous position. So today, as we wrap up our 3-part podcast series about asset transformation and business foundations, where we've talked about measuring your metrics, creating a clear marketing message. Today is part 3, and we are going to tackle the piece behind all of it. It is the transformation system that runs it all. We're going to talk about how to get off the exhausting content hamster wheel that is social media and to stop building your entire business on land that you don't own. I'm going to share with you a story that absolutely broke my heart about what happens when a platform pulls the rug out from under you. And then I'm going to show you exactly how to build a marketing engine that you own, that nobody can ever take away from you, and one that can work for you while you are sleeping or on vacation or spending time with your friends and family. So let me tell you about a warning that we've all heard. Don't build your business on rented land. But it always feels like something that's meant for other people. And it doesn't really apply to you right up until it does. I have a friend, and we're going to call her Sarah. Sarah had a great business. She was generating almost 100% of her leads from TikTok. She had cracked the code. Her videos were practically going viral, and the leads were pouring in. Her life and her business felt fantastic. So when the US started talking about banning TikTok, and it was in the news and it was sort of like everywhere you look, this is what everybody was talking about, the writing was clearly on the wall. There were all kinds of warning signs. And I even remember having a conversation with her, telling her that, she really needs to start thinking about diversification. Maybe a YouTube channel would be a really easy switch. And I encouraged her to build her email list. But she really felt like changing platforms was just going to be way too much work. She didn't want to edit long form videos. She didn't want to deal with the SEO. She just didn't have time for it. And TikTok was going great. She didn't believe that they would actually shut this down because there were just too many people making money from TikTok. So she felt safe. But then it happened. The ban went through. And overnight, all of her leads dried up. She had no way to contact her followers. She had no way for them to reach her. Her videos were gone. All of her DMs that she had on TikTok, gone. And the story is heartbreaking because she thought that building a second asset like YouTube or an email list was just going to be too much work. Because she decided to avoid that work, she was facing the hardest reality of all, and that was rebuilding her business from ground zero. And this is the danger of building on rented land. Because when your entire business is built on a social media platform or any other platform, you are simply a tenant. You are sharecropping somebody else's farm. The landlord, whether it's the government or an algorithm change or your ad account being shut down, they can just evict you anytime they want. And you don't get to bring in the rest of the crops that you planted in that field 3 or 4 months earlier. But even if the platforms don't get shut down, you don't get your account hacked, you don't get your ads turned off, there is another cost to this model, and that cost is the burnout. because social media, no matter what platform you're on, feels a lot like a hamster wheel. And I know how this feels because it can feel like you're a content creator first and a business leader second. Now, my benefit is I run a marketing company. So whether I'm creating content for myself or my clients, I typically enjoy it, but it's still not something that I would do if I weren't getting a return on that investment. And this feed the beast mentality, where you spend 3 hours filming a video, then editing it for a reel, then posting it, where it gets 200, maybe 2,000 views, a handful of likes. 24 hours later, in most cases, nobody's even seeing it anymore. It's become irrelevant because it's buried so deep in the feed, nobody's ever going to see it again. What do? You have to create a new video and edit that video. And before you know it, 3 hours have gone by. And now someone's going to see this video for 24, maybe 48 hours if you're lucky. And it happens again and again and again. But if you stop posting, a lot of times you stop generating leads, you stop making new connections, you stop building relationships. But the reality is that when businesses run that way, it's not a business, it's a job. And it becomes a very stressful job. And it creates this background noise of anxiety where a lot of people feel guilty if they take a day off or they step away from their phone or they don't, put together some kind of post that's on social media every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Because what ends up happening is you're trading your time for people's attention, but you're not really building any real equity in your business. You're just running on this wheel that isn't going anywhere. So the shift that we're going to talk about today is moving from being a content creator to being an asset builder. This shift is going to go away from the one-time campaigns, which are like your daily posts or a live launch, into building more systematic engines. So, what's the first step to getting off the social media hamster wheel? You have to build an engine that runs on the fuel that you own. And the most powerful, profitable, secure engine that you can build is super simple. It's not sexy, it's not new, but it works better than anything else out there right now. And that is your email database. Your email list is one of the only assets, marketing assets, that you truly own. Mark Zuckerberg cannot take it away from you. The government cannot ban it. The algorithm can't hide it. And when you press send, your emails land in the inbox, period. But if you have a list, that doesn't automatically make it an engine because an engine requires movement. So if you want to start building out this asset today, I'm going to recommend a specific strategy. It's not about creating a complicated funnel for cold traffic. That comes later. Instead, I'm going to recommend that we start harvesting the low-hanging fruit that's just sitting there waiting for you. So instead of worrying about bringing in new leads, pause for a second and look at the leads that you already have. Maybe it's a stack of business cards on your desk, past clients that you've worked with, whether it's pulling them from old emails or hopefully some kind of a bookkeeping invoicing software. You can also look at people that you talked to on the DMs 3-4 months ago and put everyone together into one database. I will also mention that a lot of people pull up the contacts from their phone because that seems to be where a lot of contacts end up, but then they just sort of sit there on the phone and nobody does anything with them. So before you walk into the weeds that come with creating a fancy lead magnet, I want you to write a simple human to human email sequence to the people that are already in your database. The first email is just going to be a quick update, a reintroduction. Tell them what you've been up to since the last time they may have heard about you, and then make a pivot to how you might be able to help them or someone that they know right now. The second email in this sequence is just going to be value. You're going to share a tip, a resource, a story that solves a problem that they might have. Obviously, we want this problem to relate to your service that you are offering them. And then the third email is an invitation. You want to invite them to take some kind of an action, whether it's book a discovery call, read your blog, sign up for your podcast. And if it's a low enough ticket item, you can even ask them to go ahead and make a purchase. Typically, we want this to be under $200 if you're going to jump into that right away. Now, once you have this very simple email sequence set up, now you can go back to social media, but your goal on social media is going to be different. You're no longer posting for likes and shares, and you're not asking people to marry you on the first date, right? You're not asking for a sale in your posts. You are simply trying to get people that see you on social media to move off social media and be on your email list. Now, of course, they can still follow you on social media and you can still offer value there. But once you get them on your list, now you can really start doing something with them. And it's not just social media. You can direct people to your email list through podcast guest appearances. You use that fancy lead magnet that we skimmed over a little earlier. And you can do this with all the platforms, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything. You want every piece of content that you're putting out there to have one job. Move the person from the land that you're renting to the land that you own. Now, my friend Sarah, that we talked about earlier, she learned this lesson the hard way. She thought that building this asset was going to be way too much work. She didn't have a CRM set up. She had Excel spreadsheets in places where she kept customer data, but she certainly didn't have them set up in one of those sleek push one button and emails fly out everywhere maneuvers. And she just thought it was going to take too long and too much headache and it wasn't worth it. So she stayed on her hamster wheel until her hamster wheel completely fell apart. No lucky for her, TikTok got turned back on and she was able to reconnect with these leads. And good news is she learned a lesson and she is now diversifying into other platforms. But I don't want you to have to make the same mistake Sarah did and be taught a lesson the hard way. Because the truth is, building this email database is going to take some effort up front. Writing those emails, setting up the CRM, creating the lead magnet, it's all going to take work. But it's work that you do once and you get to use it forever. That's the difference between the hamster wheel and the marketing asset. Because the hamster wheel work, you're going to do it every day and you're going to stay in the same place and you're never going to get anywhere. But when you create a marketing asset, you do the work today and you're buying the freedom that comes down the road. This is the end of our 3-part transformation trilogy. We have covered metrics, messaging, and this engine model that when you implement all 3 parts together, you stop just running a business and instead start building a machine that really powers the life that you've always wanted. So if you're listening to this and you're realizing that this is a little more complicated than you thought, but it's something that you want to do, you're ready to get off the hamster wheel and you want to start building this re-engagement sequence and setting up your database, I would love to talk to you. I have a specific strategy that works to wake up these dead or cold leads and turn them into clients without being sleazy and salesy. And so if you would like to map that out with me, I would love for you to book a free strategy session. You can use the link in the show notes below. But your challenge this week is to pull out all your leads, every business card, every old email, sticky note, phone contacts, wherever they all are, and put them in one location, whether it's Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. Have them in a place that you can easily access. Digitized is obviously the ideal situation because that is going to be the first step to setting up any CRM that you decide to go with. And once you pull it all together, you will realize how big of a gold mine you've been sitting on this whole time. All you have to do is build the engine to go dig for that gold. So until next time, keep leading with integrity, serving with heart, and building your own limitless impact.